Hi. Making liveries for weapons and other pylon attachments in DCS is very easy. Anything that the jet can equip looks for any directions from your description.lua to see if it needs to wear a certain texture. There are some limitations. In the case of Mark 82s, I've noticed that they lose their custom texture as the level of detail is decreased at a distance, and for everything besides fuel tanks that revert back to the default texture as soon as they leave the rack. Our first step is to find the asset we want to retexture. For this tutorial, we're going to be making a simple edit to the AIM-120C. Most weapons are found in the Bazaar folder, so we're going to go to Bazaar, World, then Shapes. Let's find the AIM-120C. If you don't have a tab in the view window labeled Textures, you can turn it on by toggling Statistics on at the top. Sometimes the model viewer doesn't let you click certain things. Simply restart the model viewer and try again. Here we can find the texture we want and click Navigate to have the File Explorer show us our texture that we want to edit. In the case of the AIM-120C, it has a custom diffuse file and a custom roughnet file, but it uses the same normal map as the AIM-120B. For the purposes of a simple recolor, don't worry about normals or roughnets. Now we're going to copy the textures we want to change to a new folder to work on them. Next, find this blue symbol at the top of the model viewer and generate a description.lua for the asset. This file points to every texture that the model uses by default. There are some edits to be made, however. For instance, if the texture you're working on is labeled Roughmet or RM, you'll need to change Specular to Roughness Metallic. You might also see these labeled as 1-3. 0, 1, and 13 are codes that you can use if you forget how to spell Roughness Metallic. Shown on screen is a chart showing the different codes and what they mean, posted to the DCS Livery Art Group Discord by Wyvern. Use whichever you prefer, the full titles or the numbers. This is not a tutorial on how to make normal maps or PBR. We're only going to be editing the diffuse texture of the AIM-120C. The default description.lua also has textures labeled as false. This means that they will be looked for in the livery folder instead of the model's default texture folder. Since we're not going to be touching the normal map or PBR, set normal map and roughmet to true instead. Now we'll copy what we need to our livery's description.lua. We don't need to include lines that we aren't editing. I like to label sections of my description.lua for ease of navigation, but this is user preference. It doesn't matter exactly where you put the lines of code, just as long as they're within the brackets. Now I'm going to make a very simple color edit. It looks like crap. This isn't a Photoshop or GIMP tutorial, so I'm not going to teach you how to edit textures or convert from a work file to a .dds. Place your edited texture file in the liveries folder beside the description.lua and it will show up in-game. If you like to over-engineer like me, you can create subdirectories to place your liveries textures in as well, but this isn't a Lua tutorial. Because we edited the description.lua of our livery, we have to restart the model viewer to get it to show up. Reload the model that we're making a livery for, and then look for the livery folder. In this case, I've edited one of my F-16 liveries. Generally speaking, if it shows up in the model viewer, it should work in-game, but it doesn't hurt to double check. That was a quick and dirty tutorial on adding custom weapons to your DCS livery. If you have any questions, I'm at Gunner Griff on Discord. You can also join the aforementioned DCS Livery Art Group Discord. Oh, am I kidding? If you're watching this, you're already in the Discord.